to The Compass, a show where we discuss issues in society from a Christian perspective. I'm Zach Turner.
And I'm Amy Copeland. Today we will be discussing the influence social media has on our culture.
Social media is an issue that constantly is coming up in conversations around mental health, relationships, and politics.
Kayla Lima has this story.
Politicians today don't just campaign. They post, they tweet, they even go live. It's like every election is a new episode of The Bachelor, but instead of the roses, they're handing out hashtags and retweets. Social media has become a significant part of people's lives, with the worldwide average time spent on social media being 143 minutes this year. Some of those people look to social media for news and politics. For example, 65% of users on X use it for news, and 59% of users use it to keep up with politics.
Gen Z right now specifically really values vulnerability and humility, meaning, is this person who they portray themselves to be?
Politicians are able to use social media to tell their story in a way they haven't been able to in the past. Now people can see a more relatable candidate that uses social media rather than the politics on the news. Celebrities can also be influential using their opinions because of their massive followings.
So I think it's kind of a natural progression that they are influencing who somebody votes for, or trying to influence that anyway.
As misinformation, data security, and the spread of offensive material rise, some are asking whether those in charge are doing enough. Social media is reshaping politics, amplifying voices, and influencing elections. Stay informed.
Thank you, Kayla. After the break, we'll get a perspective on the use of social media in marketing from Jennifer Walker in the Marketing and Communications Office here at SWU. And later, we'll look into generation-specific effects of social media.
Welcome back. I'm here with Jennifer Walker, SWU's Director of Marketing. You know, the world is changing fast, and marketing must adapt, and we've seen it across history. How has social media changed the way companies approach their marketing strategies?
Thanks for having me today, Zach. We've had to adjust our social media strategies tremendously in the past several years, because how does everybody find their information? They pick up their phone and we go and we Google search it, or we go on our social media feeds and we look for it. So our marketing budgets have dramatically switched to digital marketing instead of print or other means of marketing.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I know there's not many times where I pick up a newspaper anymore. I mean, we used to get the newspaper at the end of the street, but
Right.
you know, even as a kid, I didn't really read those very much, and definitely not today. It's all social media. The most important thing that we have in this world is time. And this world offers so much to capture our time. There's so many distractions or different things pulling our time away from things that matter to us. So how does SWU build a brand awareness and customer engagement that captures some of that time and builds that brand awareness that SWU wants to hold in our community?
Yeah, brand awareness is huge. If people don't find you and don't see you, they can't, interact with you and engage with you. So at Southern Wesleyan, we work alongside some vendors who help us in the digital realm. So they run social media ads for us on our behalf. And we do this year round. We do a warm-up session to get brand out there, and then we target specific programs. Like if we're targeting the Master's of Counseling degree, we target that specific audience of professionals who might want to further their career with a master's degree. So it's all about audience algorithms, how to approach those people in their space.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great way to differentiate SWU from other surrounding universities because we offer programs and are stronger in programs that they aren't, and vice versa. So those targeted algorithms and targeted campaigns will definitely differentiate SWU. So things online are interpreted very differently person to person, and it's hard to maintain core principles and brand values in a message. And SWU has a very strong core value system and principles that we align with as a Christian university. So how does SWU maintain that core message through their social media and marketing presence?
So the Southern Wesleyan's social media strategy is very specific. We maintain all of our posts have to meet it's part of our mission statement. It's part of one of our 4 outcomes, which are biblically faithful, academically rigorous, vocationally effective, and financially affordable. And we also promote the SWU community because our community is very unique. If our posts are not aligned with one of those, we don't post it. So we are very strategic in how we message out on our social media platforms.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. That definitely would help SWU to stay true to those principles that we uphold. This is a little bit different than the last question I asked because it's not as much about principles, but we have seen a switch to an influencer-driven, shortened content social media. And what trends do you see shaping the future of social media marketing, and how do you prepare for them, especially marketing a university, when those things kind of drive engagement online?
Yeah, that's something that I struggle with, especially marketing the university and our Christian core values and everything. Influencer marketing and brand ambassadors are the way many companies and even other universities are going. So, they reach out to somebody who has big followers and they say, hey, you want to be part of our brand, and this is what we need you to do. We don't currently do that here at SWU because it is a very costly piece and you can't control their content. So it makes me very nervous to think about that. But it is the way and the trend right now in social media. So
for sure. So you talked about seeing trends, and we talked about seeing trends across social media. And I know you market for the university, but your expertise would also be useful for someone trying to learn how to market themselves, whether that be for a job or an interview, whatever it might be. How can someone use social media to more effectively market themselves and build a personal brand when that seems to be so important in today's day and age?
Yeah, so first of all, your digital footprint is huge. So be careful what you're posting on your personal pages because employers will go find you and look for you and see that, even if you have a separate platform for a photography business or any business you're doing. You should always do your research up front. Research. See what others are doing, watch the trends and everything. Content calendar. You should have a content calendar built out at least a month in advance so you know what's happening and what's going on, and you fill in with any one-offs that might come up. But you got to stay true to your brand, you got to stay consistent, and watch your digital footprint, because what you say is out there, so it's very important.
For sure. Yeah, it seems like authenticity is something that a lot of people strive for today, and it should be your presence online.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Jennifer. It was great. You did wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
After the break, Ella Grace Lawton will be exploring the distinct effects of social media has on individual generations. After that, we'll have Bethany Perrine, resident director here at SWU, on to talk about the effects of social media on students' life.
Wake up and focus. Because this is not a drill. This is not about cliches, shallow taglines, or some inspirational quote for you to tweet, snap, pin, or post. No, this is where snooze buttons are frozen. Alarm clocks are broken, where feet hit the floor because dreams are now woken. This is it. Awaken your dreams. Awaken your soul. Awaken your purpose. This is Southern Wesleyan University.
What if there's a place for you where your dreams and future collide with God's vision and direction, where thinking and doing go hand in hand with innovation, where servant leaders of the next generation are grown, and where your story can be written and change the course of history, where generosity is contagious and if you catch it, you just might change the world. This is it. Step into community, step into faith, step into life, step into Southern Wesleyan University.
Man, Jennifer Walker's interview was really insightful. Have you ever used social media to market yourself?
Yeah, actually, as an athlete coming into college from high school, I had to kind of use marketing to create highlight reels and things like that to market myself as an athlete to different coaches.
Yeah, that sounds great. I had never had to do it for athletics because my athletic journey ended in high school, but I did have to do it for my personal photography and videography page to get freelance gigs, and it actually helped a lot. But one area that I definitely haven't posted on is Facebook. I pretty much only use Facebook if my grandma's sending me memes. Do you ever get that?
Yeah, the trends are definitely like different, and like I don't understand what they're posting and they don't understand what I post sometimes. But now on to Ella Grace Lawton, who will be taking a look at generational effects of social media.
When it comes to social media posts, younger generations tend to be better at deciphering which photo is real versus fake better than older generations. This is most likely due to younger generations growing up with technology and social media.
I use social media to keep up with my friends. That's about it.
One thing that is really fooling the older generations is AI photos. They are more believable now than ever with how realistic they have become. There are a few ways to tell when an image is AI. Look at the teeth, facial expressions, skin, fingers, reflections in the water, and if the sizing is accurate. But the best way to ensure that a photo is not AI is to get it from a reliable source. Generational hive mind is more evident than ever, with over millions of AI-generated photos estimated to be on Facebook today.
So what I've noticed is that Gen Z is on social media, but doesn't often use it. They're not as active communicating on it as my generation probably over-communicates.
One study done asked participants to decipher between real and AI-generated photos, and they only got 61% correct, which is definitely lower than 85%, the number the researchers were expecting. AI-generated photos are becoming more and more frequent, with people of all ages believing them, but mostly older generations.
Thanks, Ella Grace. Up next, we will have Bethany Perrine on to talk about the effects of social media on student life. And still to come, we have Mary Bate talking about wisdom and discernment in media literacy. We'll see you then.
Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted.
Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth.
Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled.
Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy.
Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God.
Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God.
Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you.
This is the character of kingdom citizens. We encourage you to read Matthew chapter 5, verses 3 through 12, to put these attitudes to practice.
These are some of the blessings you will reap by serving God.
Welcome back to The Compass. I'm here with Bethany Perrine. Would you mind telling us a little bit about what you do here at SWU and what your title is?
Yeah, so I am the residence director of Mullinax. That is a student-facing job, part of student life. Basically, it's a really relational job, so we spend a lot of time with students, whether it's like mentoring them or holding them accountable for things, or just sitting with them if they're having like roommate issues or anything. Yeah, just very relational with them.
Yeah. And in that time that you're spending with your students, especially as an RD, have you seen any shifts in the overall student life culture as a result of the increase in social media influencing lately?
Yeah, I think like social media has been around since I've been a freshman here, which was 6-7 years ago. But I think the biggest shift that we've seen has been from on the negative sides of social media, the shift from comparison now to more of like wasting time with short form content coming up, more social media platforms going more towards like what TikTok does with like the shorter videos. It's a lot easier for people to just sit and scroll and watch 7 seconds, 10 seconds of nothing instead of 5 to 10 minutes. So that's been the biggest like shift that I've seen over my time here.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed a shift as well, even just in my time here, which is a little bit shorter, but even as it's changed in the past, how do you see social media continuing to change throughout the future, and how do you think this is going to impact the culture going forward?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing will be, it'll just be so normal for people to just scroll. Like I think with the push of short form content, it will continue to just be, just more normal for people to just go on their phone when they're alone instead of like engaging in conversation. We've seen that a lot already. Your phone is always accessible on you, so if you're ever like in an awkward situation or just bored for a second, you just pull it up and then scroll. So I think going forward, like in the future, that'll just be a continuous issue.
Yeah. Going off of that, what ways do you think that these students could continue to be active on social media, because it's not going to go away, but still cultivate a healthier culture?
Yeah, I think there's two different things that people can focus on. One is kind of going through like a checklist of if you're about to post something, going back towards the more comparison side of social media. But I think you need to check your heart posture and where your head's at when you post something. If there's any like emotions influencing this, if it could get taken in a wrong context, if you're mad and you post something, like that's just out in the world for everyone to see. So just making sure that when you post something, you're posting it for a good reason. The other thing is seeing if what you're posting is going to represent you well and everything you're involved in. Like me as a residence director, if I post something that it'll affect me, it'll affect student life, my teammates, it'll affect Southern Wesleyan. So just seeing how other people will view that and how it'll come across to other people, because once it's out there, it's out there. The other thing would be kind of just checking what your feed looks like. Like why are you following the people that you do? What does your For You page on TikTok look like? Why are these things showing up? Because if you're struggling with something and then that's all that you see, it can negatively impact yourself. So yeah, those are the two basic things that I would suggest.
Yeah, that's all really good advice. Is there anything else that we haven't discussed that you'd like to add on the topic?
Yeah, I think a huge tool that I even push my RAs to use is looking at the screen time. On your phone, you can see how long you've spent on different different apps, and also how often the app that you open the first time you pick up your phone, you can see that. And I went through with my RAs, and it was scary to them to see how much time that they've wasted on things. Me too, I also did it. I'm also guilty of this. I think everyone is. But yeah, definitely check that out. And also social media as a whole isn't inherently wrong. It's just it can be so beneficial to keep in touch with people and also just to learn different things. But there's also the negative side of the comparisons, the time wasting. So just kind of check yourself when you're using social media.
Yeah, those are all really good points. And thank you so much for coming in today, Bethany.
Yeah, of course.
After the break, Mary Bate will be discussing using discernment while using social media.
Anxiety and depression are two of the top concerns among college students. As college students, we should be aware of our mental health and how to get the help we need. If you are having trouble sleeping, notice any changes in your eating habits, having an inability to relax, or even having problems with fatigue, you may have issues with your mental health. SWU provides a supportive community with RAs and hall lifeguards that are here to give support to students, as well as counseling and health services located upstairs in the Campus Life Center.
This is what winners are made of. This is what leaders are made of. This is what scholars are made of. This is what believers are made of. This is what warriors are made of.
Welcome back to The Compass. You know, your interview with Bethany was pretty insightful. I try to read a lot myself and stay away from social media as much as possible, but that's really hard. I've put little limiters on my apps. Have you ever done that before?
I haven't, but it's a really good idea, and I've really thought about it before because I'll often catch myself spending way too much time, and then I think I should take a break.
Yeah, for sure. And I think expanding what we look at and not just looking at social media definitely helps us develop true wisdom. So looking at articles or books and reading and actually diving into things for ourselves, I think it really helps, don't you think?
Yeah, I definitely agree. And now we move on to Mary Bate looking into using wisdom and media literacy.
Using social media wisely requires discernment, which means being mindful of what you consume. It is key to using online platforms in a Christ-honoring way. One struggle of social media is that it is easy to begin enviously comparing ourselves to others online.
I would say comparison is a huge piece of social media where not only are we comparing ourselves to ourselves, but we're comparing everybody's best to our normal.
We need to monitor our responses to what we see on social media to make sure that we're not becoming discontent with God's perfect will for our lives. But we also need to monitor how much we consume on social media.
Because it is made for entertainment, you're constantly just sitting back and passively engaging with material and passively consuming. And then when we're passive, we're no longer making active choices in our lives. It takes a certain level of being active and making active choices because a relationship really is hard. And so if it's easy and then you're able to do it passively, then you're missing out and something's wrong.
Not having face-to-face conversations with people, I think you can get a really distorted view of the world. I can look on their social media and see how their lives are going, or I can give them a phone call or meet them for coffee. And how much of a better community is that? Social media connects us with the world, and that's really powerful. I think we need that. But it can also make the world take over us. So we just have to watch what we're intaking versus what we're outputting.
I'm Mary Bate for MC SWU.
Thanks, Mary. So Zach, Mary talked a lot about using wisdom in her social media use and other social media use. What ways have you tried to implement some wisdom in your usage?
Well, I kind of mentioned before that I put limits on my screen time. I think that's one way I've really tried to work on my media use is just to limit my time on there because there's so many different things that you see and your brain's constantly working. You get the dopamine release every time you open social media. So I try to limit my access, one, and then also I'm just trying to be more intentional about paying attention to what I'm looking at on the screen. There's so many things that are fake or altered or divisive in today's age that you really have to pay attention when you're on social media.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things that I've been working on as well.
For sure. Today we discuss the influences social media has on our society.
Hopefully the information given today will make you think more critically about what society tends to consume passively.
Thanks for joining us today on The Compass, where we discuss issues in society from a Christian perspective.
Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.